Good morning, folks. Hi, I'm Cole. Cole, who's coming out of her comfort zone and doing a face-to-face video this time. So we'll see how this goes. Please be kind. Very much a newbie, but I feel that there's, with some of the work that I'd like to start to bring into this over time, then I think it's far more appropriate for me to be able to, for you to see who I am and get a gist of, get the body language and all those sort of things. So all the ideas bubbling around in my head about all the videos that I intend to put out are a little on hold at the moment because I'm back into my studies. For those of you who may not know, who haven't seen me before or, have missed those kind of things. I think I've mentioned it quite a bit though in my other videos. I'm studying my Masters of Counselling. I already have a Bachelor of Counselling where I majored in creative and professional writing, but I'm now doing my Masters. So I'm into the last 3 sort of essay writing components of that. So brain is starting to get a bit crammed again, and I'm back at work where I work with adolescents 3 days a week as a counsellor in a school. So there's a lot going on, and trying to really put my energy into designing the videos that I would like to do is just still got to be a bit on pause. So what I thought I'd do is just sort of do a month rundown of what I've been up to and the decks I've been using and why and how and various other things. So I live in Victoria in Australia, and any of those who know Victoria know that particularly I'm about 2 hours from Melbourne, but yeah, we get 4 seasons in one day usually, so we can get blistering heat and pouring rain. In summer it's a little bit, we had 40 degrees Celsius the other day. If I remember, I'll try and put that in Fahrenheit for anyone who's interested, but it was blisteringly hot. Yesterday when I went to the beach, I had to quickly duck back into my van because it poured so heavily that I would have just got drenched. Last night I lit the fire because it was cold, and we're going back up to 30 degrees tomorrow, I think. So, the weather's been all over the place, but we have had a fairly stable summer this year, which has been lovely because last year I think summer just decided to completely skip us. So yeah, we've been spending a lot of time at the beach. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but I've been getting into the ocean now every day, most days. Sometimes I'm in Melbourne or I'm traveling or, I don't get the option to get in, but as a rule, every day for 4.5 years. And it all kind of started from, the Wim Hof phenomenon that was going around, but it just has become part of my life. So I engage with the natural world in that way every day. And come rain, hail or shine, sometimes the ocean down here is pretty wild. So I don't swim necessarily. I get in. Some days I'm just like, just get your shoulders down, Cole, just in and out. But it never ever fails to make me feel lighter and better. And there's a lot of discussions that we can have around that down the track, around the importance of sort of shutting down that element, that me element of our brain, and giving it a reprieve and letting the other sort of emotional part of our brain take over for a while and just reset. So yeah, I've been doing that a lot. It's been a little bit easier with the warmer weather. Last night wasn't, but it was so good. I'm actually becoming a little addicted to the cold, I think. Anyway, so that's been the weather. For books that I've been doing, I got myself a copy of The Artist's Way. by Julia Cameron. I have used many of the primary practice from this, which is the morning pages. I've been doing that for a couple of years now, and I picked that up from another book that I don't have a copy of anymore, but it's called Writing Down the Bones, and it's more about, as a writer, not just in a creative artistic way as the Julia Cameron Artist's Way book is, but writing down the bones really encourages 3 A4 pages every morning, and I have been doing that also for quite a while, supplemented often by my cards. Oh, hang on, I haven't finished the other books. Hang on. I'm currently listening to a book called Whole Brain Living, I think it is. Jill Bolte-Taylor, Dr. Jill Bolte-Taylor, fascinating read. I might probably allude to that a bit more next video. She's a neuroanatomist, I think a neurobiologist, brain doctor who had a stroke and lost a lot of the left part of her brain, her rational, like linear thinking, and had to sort of, for 8 years, her emotional brain was her primary source of getting the other side of her brain online, which she did. But her insights are fascinating, life-changing. Yeah, I plan to get back onto that. I'm actually developing some practical skills or practical tools, where to help us sort of explore those concepts in the privacy of our own home without having to pay a fortune to go and see a therapist. So I've also been dipping in and out of The Old Ways by Robert Macfarlane. It's he's just such a gorgeous writer. It's about different pathways, most primarily through England or the UK. It's just sort of, it's all about, well, it's supposed to be a journey on foot, but the book I'm reading at the moment is about sea paths or sea ways over there. But yeah, I just dip in and out of that. I also dip in and out of Joseph Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces, and another Joseph Campbell little companion that's like snippets of his speeches and things. I keep losing my pillow, sorry. My guy crush, Carl Jung, Memories, Dreams and Reflections, another dip in and out. Yes, I'm reading some heavy stuff. I don't know why, but there's like, I'm not really able to engage much with fiction at the moment. I've been writing it, but not reading it. And I think it's just because my brain is in study mode. I'm like, this is just a tidbit of what I'm reading. I read a lot of stuff with my studies as well, but these are the sort of things that I'm dipping in and out of at home. There's also this book, Writing Works, which is a resource for therapeutic writing. And I picked this up the other day, which is my dream book. This is like where I go off into the la la land. It's called Code Green. It's by Lonely Planet, which is they've got, for years they've written guidebooks to travel around the world into various places for more. It used to be backpacker Bibles, like backpackers, people just living rough would take them. But this one's all about sort of environmental and eco-conscious travel and different places and interesting things that you could go and look at. So that's my little, what would you call it, sort of wish list book. Yeah, I can't think of any other at the moment that's been sort of featuring in January. So now the card decks that I've been using in my private practice, which swings back to the Artist's Way, is what I was saying before about morning pages. Three A4 pages, come hail or whatever in Australia, blistering heat, doesn't matter. 3 morning pages. I didn't get to it yesterday, and by golly, did I notice that yeah, there was a difference in my regulation, in my emotional regulation. So if I can offer any suggestion to people, is to maybe have a sneak peek into the Artist's Way, or Writing Down the Bones, which I believe is also audiobook, and I think this one also may be an audiobook. And just have a little peek in at the morning pages, and yeah, consider it, is all I can say. So my morning pages have been supplemented by this, which is the almanac, an almanac of birds, 100 Divinations for Uncertain Days by Maria Popova. It is a mass market deck. It is a huge deck. Sorry about my lighting and all of my videoing stuff. I'm just learning, but it's huge. And there's some cards missing from this, because my intention is to go through, choose one every day, have a contemplation and take some time with it, and just get through them all, and then maybe do it again and just keep going through it, rather than just trying to select one to see what's the most appropriate for me at that day, or to have some kind of, sort of with other decks, I sort of just see what comes out, or, select one and see if that resonates with me. But this I am very intentional with. Part of the reason I chose this, which is because the first comment on the back is by Nick Cave, and the second one is by Robert McFarlane, who is that's quite synchronistic for me. I went and saw Nick Cave 2 nights ago, and Robert McFarlane's been, I've been reading bits of his work for ages. So that highly recommended by 2 people that I respect. So, and I do recommend this deck to anyone who has a poetic heart. I've been doing a poetry mentorship as well in the background. I write poetry. I did that over 12 months, and we've had a little break, but I'm not sure what we'll do. So I select one of these. I enter my feels that way. I also select one card from Kim Kranz's Archetype deck, and the same thing. It is my intention to work through all of the cards, probably ongoing. I'm interested in the Archetype deck by Carolyn Meese. If anyone's got it, used it, has any opinion on it, I'd really appreciate your thoughts, if that you feel that could work. I have another Archetype deck that I'll get to in a minute. So I go from the Almanac of Birds to the Archetype deck, but then I'm also working my way through the Reclaim Oracle, and often, for whatever reason, 2 cards pop out, and sometimes I'll get those couple of cards and have a look at them, and maybe do some writing towards the end of the day. Like, as I'm winding down for the day, I'll do some writing around it, but they're a little bit uncanny sometimes as to what comes out and when it comes out. So yeah, I also intend to get through all of those cards and work through them, and I feel that it's a deck where I could potentially focus on an element of my life and explore all those emotions relating to that element of life. So, for example, if I was really sort of dialing in on my career, I could take some time, months, just to explore that element with all of the emotions, and to really sort of get myself to a place of deeper understanding of how I feel about it all. That's one of the reasons I love cards so much, is the way it can keep a loose cannon like I could be, spinning out in all sorts of different ways, it can give me a focal point to really dial in on and develop my emotional intelligence and just keep building those skills and my regulation skills and my talents around being able to communicate with others and my craft as a writer and, cards. So the other decks that I just can't seem to, I'm always dipping in and out of the Death Doula Oracle. I accidentally have grey lead on the cover. I have to deal with that. But this deck is just, I probably should have shown you some of the cards of the other ones. Oh well. But, the Death Doula is potent and important. Theodore Saint Studios. It's indie and it sounds amazing and smells gorge. This one is sort of more when something really deep comes up that I would like to explore, and the cards themselves I can use as meditation tools. Oh, I have another deck actually. I bought this a long time ago and I've looked through it heaps of times and just like, I'm not so sure. But then I gave it another go and I intend to do the 40 days, use this as a tool for 40 days of meditation and see at the end how it goes rather than just be dismissive. I'll give it a crack. So I'll let you know. I don't hold myself to any of my intentions, just saying. I give myself a break, and if I move on and it doesn't work out for me, then I'm not going to go whipping girl on myself. I've done that. I did that way too long in my life and that's gone. That's not happening anymore. So yeah. Cards, obsessed with Labanco. Can't ever get enough of this. I love it. I just never fail to get a wonderful read out of this deck. It is mass market. I was so excited. I think I pre-ordered it. I did all the things. I pre-ordered the Almanac of Birds as well because when I first saw it was coming out, I got so excited about it. But this deck just smashes the reads. I've got all others, and I think I had a few that I was planning to work with, and this little combo was one, and yeah, sometimes I just wonder if I need any of these other decks because I'm so obsessed with these. And the Citadel Oracle is the partner, the life partner, the bonded pair, whatever people say. But these two together, I can't I can't recommend them highly enough. As an archetype deck, this is smashing. I love it. I love the aesthetic. Again, it was one of those ones I got and went, yeah, it's okay. You try and pry this out of my hands, not gonna happen. So the other little combo, I'll just go with those two. I have been there's another one. I've still been using individual decks occasionally, but these ones are the big ones so far. Line Strider, a daily deck. I alternate between the Labanco and Citadel combo and the Line Strider combo with its partner. And if you've seen my other videos, you'll probably have already guessed what I use. But I also, I don't know what made me buy the line starter, because it didn't really appeal as much to me, but I mean, we understand each other really beautifully, and yeah, oh, gorge. And these ones are the ones that I've sort of been like, do I need a backup copy, because I might cry if I ever lost a card, or, you know, whatever's. Best friend with it, the bonded pair so far is Outgrow Yourself. So glad I decided. I was looking at this deck for so long and thinking, yeah, I'll get it, and then I just got it. And this and the line started together, so we're a little bit yin yang. We're a little bit, you know, I don't know how to do this, but I'm sure you get the picture. Again, straight to it. No messing around. I'm always feel beautifully supported. I do not feel like I need, like there's something wrong. It's really about clarity for me. These decks are all about clarity. I'm not looking to blame. I'm not looking to have any justification when I work with cards. I'm looking for clarity and forward movement. Another deck little combo that I've been playing with is the Goddess of Love, which I trimmed, and I'm still deciding about edging. Yeah, I use this around my female sexuality, and contemplating all that sort of stuff at the stage and age in my life that I am at. You know, once women get to an age where menopause, and celebrating it and looking forward to this next wonderful womanly stage of my life. You know, that it's been a ride. I bless anyone who's having difficulties, but for me it's an intentional decision to celebrate and to find ways to work with it. And I've been playing with cheeky little Casanova Oracle cards to go with it. Yeah, and I'm really quite liking the keywords and dialing in on the keywords, and yeah, I'm just reflecting on a few things. So they're really my primary deck. Sometimes I'll bring the Black Lily in. Sure you know what that is, but I'm happy to just give a little peek. This is a Make Playing Cards, or one of those print on demand decks. Yeah. I'm just noticing I've got black under my eyes. That's because I'm still catching up on sleep, because I went and saw Nick Cave. People, if you ever get an opportunity to see Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, please do. What a show. What a showman. What an emotional ride. Not for everyone, I know that. I know that for sure, but beauty. Just beauty. And yeah, I didn't get back until very late because of where I live and the travelling I was doing and stuff. So sleep's such an important part of health at all ages, but certainly ours. I don't know why I'm holding that up. But yeah, so Nick Cave I saw a couple of days ago. I was contemplating trying to get back in to see him again last night, but I didn't. I have seen a couple of live shows. I don't know who would know of Gomez. They were really big in the 90s. They were really big, but they were pretty popular in the 90s. So I got to see Ian and Ben play just down the road from where I live. Very fortunate. There are people who do some incredible live shows and bring in some really cool artists. So I got to see them, and I saw Tex Perkins and Matt Walker of Cruel Sea. If you know, you know. But that was a beautiful afternoon as well. So live music's really coming back on the agenda for me as my kids are becoming more and more independent. My youngest is now entering senior years, year 11. So, I can come and go as I please now. Other than that, what else has been going on? Oh, with study, I'm now, late last year I did a big intensive course on narrative therapy, which is something that'll come into this channel. And I also did a certification in therapeutic writing. Right now, I'm just focusing on my master's, and my unit at the moment is called Cultural Interface, Counselling at the Cultural Interface, and it really is primarily around Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here in Australia. It's a pretty heavy going unit. There's a lot of learning around history and some of the really challenging stuff that's gone on. I won't go into it, okay, because I'm probably not even using really aptly descriptive words as to how I truly feel about it. But that's going on. Then I'm off to Perth or Brisbane in a month or so for my next unit. So yeah, all in there. I'm starting to waffle, so it's probably time to get off. I don't really have much else that's been going on other than spending some time walking on the ocean. I'm very fortunate to be able to have, within 5 to 10 minutes from here, beaches that for whatever reason people don't tend to use very often. It's just a few souls who appreciate being away get down there, so I'm down there most times. We've got other beaches that are just so busy that it's not worth going to, but there are other places. They're pretty dangerous, some of them, so that's probably why. But yeah, I spend an awful lot of time down there contemplating life and everything in it and shutting down my mind and relaxing. So yeah, that's me in January 2026. I hope you're going well. I hope you've got your own little practices that are being supportive of you, and yeah, I look forward to connecting more and more as time wears on and I get my shit together and work out what I'm doing. So yeah. I've also been playing with the I Ching, but I won't get that down because that could be a disaster. Books flying everywhere. But yeah. All right. Rock on. I hope you're doing well, and chat soon. Bye. Hi, I'm just going to apologise because my camera was on the wrong angle for the last... I'm not going to re-record all that, so I'll try and remember to put my camera phone on a different angle so it's a bit more of a wider thing. Also, I'm going to put on the new thumbnail that I'll be using for my videos. So those of you who've been sort of following along ever since I've sort of started would be used to that sort of night sky aesthetic. I'm shifting it around a little bit as I start to develop the plan of all the different things I'd like to do. So just very briefly, I'm kind of looking at having a different playlist for different features. So that way you can maybe pop into the ones that you're interested in and leave the things that you might not be interested in, or just have your head around which ones you're getting. So there'll be some on tools, there'll be some on techniques, there'll be some on different theories and and therapy stuff as well. So there's going to be a bit of a shift in the aesthetic, and I figure it's probably better to do it earlier rather than later. So I hope you still can... I'll put it up now-ish, so then I'm hopeful that you will still be able to easily recognize that it's me in this channel if you're interested in it. All right, now I don't know where I'm supposed to look, so hi. Okay, bye.